to my Business of Photography channel. My name is Rosh. This video is part of a series of 31 videos for photographers who are trying to start or restart or grow their photography business. And this video is about a very important subject, the cost of doing business. It is common for photographers to ignore the concept of their cost of doing business because they believe, well, they don't have any overhead. They have a camera already and they don't have a studio, so there really isn't any overhead. Well, that may mean their overhead is really low, but there are always costs to meeting your goals, to running a business, to earning new clients, and just everyday stuff that accumulates. If you really dig down deep, you'll start to notice all the expenses that kind of add up over time. And you need to make note of them and categorize them and figure out how much does it really cost you to run your business. Now, the first group of expenses you should probably think about are your business expenses. And one place to start is looking at insurance. What types of insurance do you need to protect you and your business? You may need liability insurance. What if a light falls on somebody? Or maybe you need professional insurance. You know, people can sue you for any reason and you really don't have to do anything wrong. They just have to decide they're not happy and they have the money to sue you. You need to protect yourself. So talk with a professional. And sometimes you need to have specific insurances to protect the property or location owner that you may be photographing. So there are many locations that you can't photograph in unless you have the proper insurance. Even if you already have equipment, you need to consider your next equipment because your equipment is going to wear out or maybe need to be repaired. But how much is it going to cost you to get the next camera body that you're eyeing right now? Well, look into that. Find out what it's going to cost to replace your current equipment, as well as add on new lenses, new lighting, and whatever the next gadget is that you think you might need to enhance and improve your business. There are a number of business expenses that we often don't think about as photographers because they're part of our everyday life, such as the creative tools that we use online. Maybe we have accounting software as a service. If you added up all of the software that I pay monthly for, let me tell you, that number gets pretty high rather quickly. So you should do the same thing. Look at your current account statements, your bank account statements, and see what you are spending each month that can be attributed to your photography business. It's important for you to consider and think about all of the expenses, the everyday expenses that you can attribute to your photography and photography business, such as your transportation. How much does it cost you each month for transportation? Whether you're taking a bus or you own your own car, there are transportation costs. How about going to networking events? Networking events are important for many photographers. How about marketing to earn the new photography clients? You need to think about that because that has to be in your budget right now as part of your photography expenses to actually make it work for you. When it comes to marketing, I often recommend 10% of your goal. So if your goal is to create a six-figure, a $100,000 photography business, then you need to plan on about $10,000 worth of marketing. Now, some of that marketing could be your time. So what is your time worth? You can attribute it to that number. However, you need to have a plan. So $1,000 a month is about where you need to be. Actually, a little bit less if you want to make $100,000 in a year. But this is a real expense that you need to consider if you want to grow your photography business. Another number you need to consider is part of your cost of doing business are your everyday living expenses, your income. You need to know how much you need to make to survive each year. And obviously every photographer is different. If you're just coming out of school, well then maybe your expenses are much lower than if you are a family person with 2-3 kids you need to support. So those expenses are going to be different for everyone, but you need to include it as part of your cost of doing business because you are the biggest expense in your cost of doing business. You are the labor. You are the person that gets paid for doing the work. And that needs to be priced in so you can properly price your photography moving forward. It's very easy to imagine that it might cost you $5,000 a month to run your photography business. Now this includes your income. However, that is $60,000 a year. But when you break it down into 12 months, it's $5,000 a month. Now you need to consider how many days you think you can actually work in the coming months. Now, if you don't have a lot of experience, I often recommend you start with 48 days in a year or 4 days per month. And if you do that and divide that into $5,000, take your expenses, divide by the number of days you think you're going to work, and if you have experience, you can certainly use that, use last year's numbers. But if you divide it by 4 days, that is $1,250 a day that you need to make to keep yourself in business. Now everybody's going to come up with a different number, but I often find when you divide those numbers, it's usually somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a month, no matter where you are in your photography business. Now if that number is lower, that's fine, but you also want to remember that it's going to get more expensive as you grow your company. So you don't want to price yourself too low off of that base number because you need to be able to grow with your company over time. And it's a lot harder to increase rates in the future with current clients. So you want to make sure you're in a comfort zone that you're going to be able to grow with. So your business expenses divided by number of days worked equals your base rate. Now this is not your day rate. We will work through that in the pricing for photography section of this 30-day group of videos. Right now we just need a base rate to work off of. Other things we're going to have to consider are such as our brand and use of the photographs and copyright. There are a lot of different things we need to understand when pricing our photography. However, we need to have a base rate, and this is it. It's not your day rate. Your day rate is certainly a number that you need to use and to understand moving forward, but your day rate for the most part should be an internal number, just like your base rate. These are rates that help you understand what you need to make and how much you should charge for your work. And there are a lot of different ways we can approach this, and we're definitely going to do so in the Pricing for Photographers video. So in your average month, how many days do you work as a photographer? Put it in the comments below. So of course you can break this down even further by dividing by 10. So $1,250 divided by 10 is $125 an hour. So that gives you another number to work with. Now why 10? 10 is the standard number in the photography industry because it's 8 hours of photography plus an hour in the beginning for setup and an hour for breakdown in the end. That's why it's a 10-hour day that we work with in the photography industry. So you're wondering what the 610 means. Well, those of you who have seen the video on the combination business scale, you know that the 6 represents a profitable business. You have earned, you've created a business with a positive cash flow. You have more coming in than going out. That is what the 6 represents on the scale. And the cost of doing business, well, that is the baseline for you to get to the point in which you have a profitable business. If you don't understand this, it's really hard to get there. And if you have a profitable business, most likely you'll have 10 as part of your business scale, because when you have a profitable business, you most likely have peace of mind, and the 10 represents a business and a business owner with peace of mind. Hey, the next video is all queued up. I'll see you in the next video, and hey, don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when I upload my next video.